In Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it, authored by Chris Voss with co-writing assistance from Tal Raz, the aim is to offer a comprehensive negotiation manual, equipping readers with the necessary tools for successful negotiation. Voss proposes that effective negotiation primarily operates on an emotional rather than rational level. According to his thesis, negotiators should prioritize empathy, seeking to comprehend the emotions of their counterparts, empathize with their perspectives, and foster an environment where the other party feels safe enough to lower their emotional defenses. Chapters 1 to 3 of Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it, delve into the emotional foundation of negotiation, challenging common misconceptions and offering practical insights. Voss contends that negotiation often evokes feelings of fear and anxiety, fueled by concerns of being outmaneuvered, lacking sufficient information, and succumbing to pressure. Contrary to popular belief, negotiation is not solely the domain of business elites and legal professionals, but a ubiquitous aspect of daily life, from major transactions to mundane interactions like persuading a partner to complete household chores. Central to Voss's argument is the recognition of human irrationality and emotional impulses as key drivers of negotiation dynamics. He posits that individuals possess two fundamental emotional needs: security and autonomy. By understanding these emotional underpinnings, negotiators can effectively establish rapport, engender trust, and glean valuable information to bolster their negotiation position. Drawing parallels to Jonathan Haidt's metaphor of the rider and the elephant from the happiness hypothesis, Voss underscores the dominance of emotion over reason in human decision-making. Like a rider attempting to steer an elephant, negotiators must navigate the intricate interplay between emotions and rationality to achieve favorable outcomes, recognizing the primacy of emotion in influencing behavior and leveraging it to their advantage. Rejecting traditional negotiation theories based on rationality, Voss introduces an emotion-centered approach that challenges prevailing notions in the field. While classic negotiation theory portrays humans as rational beings capable of calculating optimal outcomes and achieving win-win settlements through compromise, Voss argues that real-world negotiations are often more complex and emotionally charged. Drawing on Roger Fisher and William Urie's influential work, Getting to Yes, Voss contrasts the rational problem-solving model advocated by these authors with his own emphasis on emotional intelligence. While Fisher and Urie acknowledge the role of emotion in negotiation, Voss contends that their approach overlooks the depth of emotional influence and fails to fully leverage it for negotiation success. Voss asserts that negotiations frequently involve win-lose scenarios where compromise is not feasible, challenging the notion of win-win solutions. Moreover, he highlights the pervasive impact of emotion and impulse on decision-making, emphasizing the need to uncover and address hidden emotional drivers underlying surface-level behavior. While Fisher and Urie advocate for acknowledging and defusing emotions to facilitate constructive dialogue, Voss maintains that their approach falls short in fully harnessing the power of emotion in negotiation. He argues for a deeper understanding and manipulation of emotions to establish rapport, gain insights into counterparts' motivations, and ultimately achieve desired outcomes. Instead of relying on traditional negotiation methods, Voss advocates for a strategy he calls calculated empathy, which involves understanding the emotions of your counterpart to achieve your desired outcome. Calculated empathy provides insights into the motivations behind someone's behavior, enabling you to demonstrate empathy effectively. By showing understanding and openness, you create an environment where your counterpart feels emotionally secure and begins to view you as a collaborator rather than an adversary. This sense of safety encourages them to share valuable information and insights, giving you a strategic advantage in the negotiation process. Voss emphasizes the importance of information gathering in negotiations, asserting that the quality of information you possess is your ultimate asset. Understanding your counterpart's emotional needs, particularly their desire for security and autonomy, allows you to leverage these needs to extract valuable information. This approach aligns with the concept of emotional intelligence, as outlined by Daniel Goleman in Emotional Intelligence. Goleman highlights empathy as a key component of emotional intelligence, essential for understanding and responding to the needs of others. By considering others' perspectives and backgrounds, individuals can develop greater empathy and improve their interpersonal relationships. Voss delineates 5 tactics for practicing calculated empathy. 1. Active listening. Demonstrating genuine understanding and concern by listening attentively and responding thoughtfully. This involves speaking slowly and calmly to convey empathy and avoid overwhelming the other person with information. Tactic number 2. Employing the right tone. Voss underscores the significance of tone in calculated empathy, likening it to a lever that can influence emotions and cooperation. He identifies 3 primary negotiating voices. 1. Upbeat. This tone exudes positivity and warmth, creating a welcoming atmosphere. Voss advocates for making this your default tone to establish a sense of ease and receptiveness in your counterpart, which is conducive to successful negotiation. 2. Soothing. Characterized by a calm and reassuring demeanor, this tone employs a slow, deliberate cadence with a downward inflection. Voss frequently used this tone during his tenure as an FBI hostage negotiator to prevent hostage-takers from succumbing to agitation and resorting to impulsive, potentially hazardous actions. 3. Domineering, assertive and authoritative. This tone conveys dominance. While some may perceive it as essential for negotiation, Voss cautions against its frequent use, as it often leads to resistance and may backfire. It should be reserved for specific situations where its strategic application is warranted. Considerations on gender and tone. Voss's insights into the importance of tone find resonance in broader societal contexts, particularly regarding gender dynamics and vocal criticism. For instance, studies have revealed a tendency to use terms like shrill disproportionately to describe women compared to men, as highlighted in a 2018 New York Times article by Jessica Bennett. This gendered vocal scrutiny may have contributed to the challenges faced by female political figures, exemplified by Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in 2016. Moreover, research cited in a 2018 BBC article by David Robson indicates a measurable decline in the pitch of female voices over time. This shift, observed from audio recordings spanning several decades, suggests an adaptation possibly driven by women's increasing presence in traditionally male-dominated spheres. The deliberate adjustment of tone to align with societal expectations and assert authority underscores Voss's premise that tone modulation can be a strategic tool in achieving desired outcomes. Tactic number 3. Reflecting back. Voss highlights reflecting back as a potent psychological strategy, rooted in the power of imitation and repetition. This technique involves echoing the last few words spoken by your counterpart in your response, a seemingly simple yet profoundly impactful approach. Human beings naturally gravitate towards familiarity and are often wary of the unfamiliar. By mirroring the speech patterns of others, you not only signal attentive listening but also establish a sense of similarity and connection. This fosters a feeling of comfort and rapport, facilitating open communication and trust. The role of familiarity. Reflecting back taps into the concept of familiarity, as elucidated by Robert Cialdini in Influence. The principle of liking underscores that individuals are more inclined to comply with requests from those they know and like. By mirroring speech patterns, negotiators create a sense of kinship, prompting greater receptiveness and compliance from their counterparts. This inclination towards cooperation is deeply rooted in our evolutionary past, where survival often depended on mutual support within close-knit communities. Tactic number 4. Labeling. Another pivotal technique in calculated empathy, as identified by Voss, is labeling, acknowledging, and articulating the emotions of others. This strategy serves as a shortcut to building intimacy and rapport, showcasing empathy and understanding without conceding ground. Effective labeling necessitates astute observation of verbal and nonverbal cues to discern the emotions of your counterpart. Once identified, vocalize these emotions using neutral, third-person statements like, "It seems like," or "It looks like." Ownership of emotions. Taking ownership of our emotions is paramount, as emphasized by Marshall Rosenberg in Nonviolent Communication. Expressive nonviolent communication entails not only labeling our own feelings but also recognizing the underlying needs and expectations that drive them. By attributing emotions to personal experiences rather than external factors, we foster accountability and empower ourselves to navigate conflicts constructively. In practice, applying Rosenberg's insights complements Voss's approach to labeling, enabling negotiators to encourage counterpart accountability and facilitate productive dialogue. Tactic number 5. Anticipate accusations. Voss introduces the tactic of anticipating accusations as a nuanced application of labeling, where you preemptively acknowledge any negative sentiments your counterpart might harbor towards you. By initiating the dialogue with a candid acknowledgement of potential criticisms, you create an atmosphere of transparency and disarmament. This approach involves listing all conceivable negative perceptions your counterpart might have about you and soliciting their feedback. By inviting input based on this self-critique, you prompt your counterpart to engage with your vulnerability and reassure you, thereby fostering empathy and resetting the negotiation dynamic. Inherent human connection. Anticipating accusations taps into our innate need for connection and understanding. By openly addressing potential grievances, you compel your counterpart to extend empathy and reassurance, thereby strengthening the interpersonal bond between you. However, it's crucial to wield this tactic ethically, avoiding manipulation or deceit. Deliberately misrepresenting yourself to elicit empathy under false pretenses risks undermining trust and legitimacy in the negotiation process.
À calculated empathie dialogue.
To illustrate the strategic interplay of these tactics, let's examine a hypothetical dialogue between co-workers, Paul and Jenna, following Paul's absence from a crucial meeting organized by Jenna. Here, Paul employs tactics of calculated empathy to address Jenna's concerns and rebuild rapport. Paul, in an empathetic tone, "Hi Jenna. I heard you did an excellent job at yesterday's meeting with the Orient Point team. Well done for handling everything so smoothly." Tactic number 2. Use the right tone. Jenna: "Thank you, Paul. Your acknowledgement means a lot to me." Paul: "I want to address my absence from the meeting. I had a childcare emergency and had to leave work early. I feel terrible about leaving you in a tough spot like that. I wouldn't blame you if you thought I was negligent or didn't care about our team's efforts." Tactic number 5. Anticipating accusations. Jenna: "I understand that emergencies happen. It would have been helpful to have some notice, but I don't see you as neglectful or uncaring." Paul: "I hear you. It sounds like you're disappointed, and that's completely valid. You shouldn't have had to bear the burden alone." Tactic number 1. Listen actively. And tactic number 4. Label. Jenna: "Your acknowledgement means a lot. I'm looking forward to continuing our collaboration." Paul: "Likewise." Chapters 4 to 5. Getting the right responses. Once you've established calculated empathy and cultivated a relaxed emotional environment, Voss emphasizes the importance of eliciting specific responses from your counterpart. In the subsequent chapters, he delves into the nuances of responses like "yes," "no," and "that's right," shedding light on the underlying emotional impulses behind these seemingly routine reactions. Voss examines why yes often proves to be an unsatisfactory response in negotiations, how no can actually signal positive engagement and a sense of control, the significance of "that's right" as an indication of genuine progress towards collaboration rather than confrontation, the pitfalls of yes. Voss contends that traditional negotiation strategies often prioritize reaching a yes, drawing inspiration from seminal works like Getting to Yes. On the surface, securing a yes might seem indicative of agreement or compliance with your terms. However, Voss warns against viewing yes as unequivocal success, as it frequently masks reluctance or simply aims to terminate an overly assertive interaction. Such acquiescence lacks genuine commitment or alignment with your objectives, serving merely as a tactic to end an uncomfortable exchange. Another form of deceptive yes arises from leading questions, often employed by salespersons to elicit affirmative responses. Despite apparent agreement to individual queries, respondents may feel coerced and manipulated, ultimately leading to a refusal when presented with the broader proposition. Voss underscores how individuals may offer vague affirmations, driven by a desire to please others and avoid conflict. This tendency, associated with agreeableness, can result in commitments lacking genuine intention or follow-through, undermining relationships both personally and professionally. A misleading yes dialogue. Consider this hypothetical interaction. You: "Hello? Salesperson, Hi there. I'm calling from restaurantcoupons.com with an exclusive offer. Okay. Salesperson. Do you enjoy dining at top-notch restaurants with delectable food? Yeah, I suppose. Responding to leading questions. Salesperson. And who doesn't love saving money? I guess saving money is good. Salesperson. Fantastic. We're offering a 20% discount coupon for your next restaurant visit. Wouldn't it be wonderful to treat your family to a lavish meal at a fraction of the cost? I suppose so. Salesperson. Excellent. Can I sign you up for the complimentary coupon? Plus, I'll provide details about our membership program, offering even more savings for just $125 per month. All right, I guess. A get off my back, yes. Unlocking the potential of no. In navigating negotiations, Voss advocates for a counterintuitive approach. Encouraging your counterpart to say no contrary to conventional wisdom, he asserts that no marks the inception of a fruitful negotiation rather than its conclusion. This assertion, according to Voss, taps into a fundamental human need for autonomy. By uttering no, individuals assert control, delineating their boundaries and affirming independence. Voss draws parallels between adults asserting autonomy through no and toddlers' developmental phase characterized by stubborn refusals. Despite its challenges, this phase signifies crucial cognitive growth, fostering self-awareness and establishing boundaries essential for healthy development.
Facilitating no.
To prompt authentic no responses, Voss recommends posing open-ended questions that invite negative answers, empowering counterparts to assert their preferences and boundaries. This approach includes 1. Deliberately mislabeling emotions or desires, compelling correction and providing autonomy affirmation. 2. Inviting counterparts to articulate their deal breakers and red lines, thus defining negotiating limits while fostering transparency. Saying no gracefully. Urey introduces the concept of the positive no as a strategy for asserting autonomy without damaging relationships. This approach involves respectfully declining requests while affirming mutual respect and exploring alternative solutions. By exemplifying the positive no, individuals navigate refusal with grace and empowerment.
Leveraging no.
Once a counterpart articulates no, Voss suggests furthering the negotiation by 1. Posing solution-based inquiries, fostering collaborative problem-solving. 2. Labeling the effect of no, encouraging reevaluation and reaffirmation of commitment to negotiation. In employing these tactics, negotiators navigate the path to agreement, harnessing the power of no as a catalyst for mutual understanding and successful outcomes. Affirmation through, that's right. Having established a relaxed atmosphere by granting your counterpart the liberty to refuse, your next objective is to guide them towards your perspective. To achieve this, Voss suggests crafting statements intended to solicit affirmative responses, epitomized by the coveted phrase, that's right. Despite its simplicity, Voss emphasizes the profound significance of these words. When uttered, they signify an acceptance of your viewpoint, fostering mutual understanding and respect. For your counterpart, this acknowledgement offers a balance between agreement and autonomy, fulfilling their emotional needs for security and independence. Moreover, gaining their self-confirmed perspective provides valuable insight into their motivations and desires, aiding in steering negotiations towards favorable outcomes. Harnessing consistency and commitment. Voss aligns the power of that's right with Cialdini's consistency principle, asserting that commitments, once made, prompt individuals to uphold their stance, a psychological phenomenon vital in negotiations. By securing even minor agreements, negotiators pave the way for larger concessions, leveraging the human inclination towards consistency. Encouraging, that's right. To elicit that's right from your counterpart, Voss prescribes the following steps. 1. Listen attentively, employing silence and intermittent affirmations to convey engagement. 2. Reflect their concerns to build empathy and rapport. 3. Label their emotions to demystify fears and establish understanding. 4. Paraphrase their statements in your own words, showcasing comprehension and empathy. Voss's approach mirrors AMPP strategy from Crucial Conversations, emphasizing the pivotal role of paraphrasing in fostering dialogue and understanding. By encouraging thoughtful responses, negotiators lay the groundwork for fruitful negotiations. Example, building empathy with Sabaya. Voss illustrates the efficacy of summarizing through his negotiations with Abu Sabaya, a kidnapper in the Philippines. Despite stark ideological differences, Voss and his team demonstrated empathy towards Sabaya's beliefs to facilitate a peaceful resolution. By summarizing Sabaya's worldview, they established rapport and paved the way for collaboration. Through the exchange, Voss highlights the potency of summarizing in fostering empathy and understanding, transcending ideological divides to achieve common goals. Achieving the genuine yes. In any negotiation, the pinnacle is reaching the genuine yes, signifying not only agreement but also unwavering commitment. Voss offers a method to discern if the yes you receive is authentic. 1. Obtain at least 3 affirmations to distinguish between superficial agreements and genuine commitments. 2. Following the initial agreement, label or summarize their stance to prompt a confirming, "That's right." 3. Pose open-ended questions to delineate the path to success and ensure mutual understanding and cooperation. Contrasting approaches. While Voss emphasizes navigating negotiations with tactical precision, Fisher and Urey advocate for a more holistic approach to securing affirmative outcomes. 1. Focus on understanding your counterpart's perspective rather than reacting impulsively. 2. Address impasses by exploring underlying interests rather than rigid positions. 3. Establish emotional boundaries and express empathy to foster productive discussions. 4. Frame disagreements positively and avoid retaliatory behavior. 5. Break the cycle of escalation by remaining flexible and seeking collaborative solutions. A dialogue for genuine agreement. To exemplify securing a genuine yes, consider this dialogue between a customer and a car dealer. Customer: "Do we have a deal?" Salesperson: "Absolutely. Congratulations." Yes. Number 1. Customer: "Just to confirm, the vehicle is priced at $20,000, with 4.5% financing, additional legroom, and complimentary oil changes every 6 months. Correct?" That's right. And yes. Number 2. Customer: "Excellent. What potential obstacles might hinder finalizing these terms on your end?" Open-ended question. I've cleared this with my superiors and financing team. Even if challenges arise, I'll ensure we honor our agreement. Yes. Number 3. Customer: "Wonderful. Looking forward to sealing the deal." Chapter 6. Change their perspective. Up to this point, Voss has delved into the psychological underpinnings of negotiation dynamics, highlighting how individuals' behaviors and thoughts are largely shaped by their emotional needs for security and autonomy. By leveraging techniques such as calculated empathy, summarization, and open-ended questions, negotiators can effectively address these emotional needs, paving the way to uncovering concealed desires and gaining a strategic edge in negotiations. In this chapter, Voss explores strategies for identifying, articulating, and leveraging these hidden desires and irrational blind spots to one's advantage. By reframing perspectives and demonstrating how fulfilling one's own objectives aligns with meeting the counterparty's covert wants, negotiators can maneuver negotiations to their benefit. Specifically, Voss examines harnessing the element of time to one's advantage by defying the constraints of deadlines, exploiting perceptions of fairness and unfairness, utilizing cognitive biases like framing effects and loss aversion to shape negotiations in one's favor, leveraging deadlines. Voss underscores the pervasive role of deadlines as a source of anxiety in negotiations. The fear of missing out or losing favorable terms often prompts rash decision-making, driven by the cognitive bias of loss aversion. High-pressure sales tactics frequently exploit this anxiety, compelling individuals to overlook rational assessments and hastily commit to unfavorable deals. While conventional negotiation wisdom advises against disclosing deadlines, Voss advocates transparency. Revealing one's deadline compels both parties to expedite negotiations, mitigating the risk of deadlock. By acknowledging mutual time constraints, negotiators level the playing field and foster a sense of urgency conducive to productive discussions. Harnessing deadlines to one's advantage. Contrary to conventional advice, Voss maintains that deadlines are typically arbitrary and flexible, seldom leading to dire consequences. Rather than concealing deadlines to evade pressure, transparency serves to align interests and incentivize prompt negotiation. Negotiators can capitalize on counterparts' time constraints, as evident in scenarios such as car dealerships offering favorable terms to meet monthly sales quotas. Sports trades as a case study. Voss illustrates adept deadline manipulation in professional sports trades, particularly exemplified by Billy Beane's strategic maneuvers during Major League Baseball's trade deadline in 2002. Recognizing the time-sensitive nature of trades, Beane capitalized on the urgency of teams facing playoff elimination to secure advantageous player acquisitions at discounted prices. By mastering the art of leveraging deadlines, negotiators can navigate negotiations with precision, transforming time constraints into strategic advantages. Rejecting unfairness, according to Voss, is a pivotal aspect of negotiation dynamics, given that individuals are deeply influenced by their perceptions of fairness and equity. Leveraging this insight, negotiators can sway counterparts' perspectives by demonstrating a genuine concern for fair treatment, thereby eliciting empathy and positioning themselves as trustworthy brokers in the negotiation process. Voss emphasizes that people's inclination to reject unfairness can lead them to make irrational choices, presenting an advantageous opportunity for skilled negotiators. To effectively implement this strategy, Voss underscores the importance of defining fairness and discerning its various uses in negotiation contexts. He identifies three distinct applications of the term. 1. Destabilizing tactics * employing assertions of fairness to unsettle the other party, triggering defensiveness and a predisposition to concede. 2. Manipulative appeals * accusing the counterpart of failing to recognize a fair offer, compelling compliance through appeals to their innate desire for fairness and reasonableness. Voss advises countering such manipulations by prompting evidence to substantiate the claim of fairness, thereby gaining deeper insights into the counterpart's position. 3. Empathy and honesty * establishing a foundation for empathy and transparency by prioritizing fair treatment and inviting feedback on one's conduct in the negotiation. Voss also highlights the significance of cultural variations in perceptions of fairness, cautioning against actions that might engender feelings of unfair treatment based on cultural norms and values. Understanding cognitive biases. In addition to leveraging fairness perceptions, Voss advocates exploiting cognitive biases to shape negotiations in one's favor. Recognizing that individuals' decision-making processes are influenced by inherent mental errors, negotiators can strategically frame their positions and offers to align with counterparts' psychological inclinations. Voss draws parallels between these tactics and the strategies employed by advertisers to tap into consumers' deeper needs and desires. Two key cognitive biases highlighted by Voss are: 1. The framing effect * exploiting individuals' responses to how choices are presented, manipulating perceptions of value and desirability. 2. Loss aversion * capitalizing on people's aversion to losses, framing offers and positions to emphasize the potential for avoiding negative outcomes rather than focusing solely on gains. By understanding and leveraging these biases, negotiators can tailor their approaches to elicit favorable responses and maximize outcomes. Voss provides practical techniques, such as anchoring emotions, using precise numbers, and offering unexpected gestures of goodwill to effectively frame offers and foster productive negotiations. In summary, by strategically navigating perceptions of fairness and exploiting cognitive biases, negotiators can wield significant influence over negotiation dynamics, positioning themselves for success and favorable outcomes. Chapter 7. Put them in the driver's seat. Voss's core premise in negotiation theory posits that individuals are primarily motivated by their emotional needs for security and autonomy. Establishing a sense of safety and control is paramount in any successful negotiation, positioning the negotiator to guide the counterpart towards a mutually beneficial outcome while fostering an illusion of autonomy. Having previously addressed the aspect of safety and security through techniques like calculated empathy, Voss now delves into autonomy and empowering the counterpart to feel in charge. Key points explored include: 1. Open-ended questions * Voss underscores the significance of autonomy by advocating for the use of open-ended how or what questions. These inquiries prompt the counterpart to engage in problem-solving, subtly steering them towards the negotiator's desired outcome while fostering the perception that they are leading the process. For instance, when faced with unfavorable terms, responding with a simple, "How can I do that?" prompts the counterpart to contemplate solutions from the negotiator's perspective, facilitating alignment with the desired outcome. Voss cautions against the use of accusatory, why questions, which can evoke defensiveness and diminish the counterpart's sense of control, thus undermining the negotiation process. 2. Asking the right questions * aligning with Voss's insights. Other negotiation experts advocate for the strategic use of open-ended questions to gather information collaboratively, rather than employing adversarial tactics. By fostering an atmosphere of cooperation, negotiators can elicit comprehensive responses and position themselves as allies rather than adversaries. 3. Harnessing the power of open-ended questions * Voss emphasizes that open-ended questions empower the counterpart to contribute to the negotiation process, fostering a sense of ownership over the proposed solutions. By eliciting detailed responses, these inquiries unveil valuable insights into the counterpart's priorities, concerns, and constraints, enabling the negotiator to tailor their approach accordingly. Additionally, by guiding the counterpart towards the desired conclusion under the guise of autonomy, the negotiator cultivates buy-in and commitment, reinforcing the perception that the counterpart's input is valued and influential. This strategic approach not only facilitates decision-making but also strengthens the negotiator's control over the negotiation dynamics, positioning them to achieve their objectives effectively. In essence, by leveraging open-ended questions to empower the counterpart and guide them towards mutually beneficial outcomes, negotiators can cultivate a collaborative and productive negotiation environment while strategically asserting influence and control. Staying clear of reciprocal obligations is a key aspect of negotiation strategy, according to Voss. He contends that open-ended questions offer a way to gather information without entangling oneself in an expectation of quid pro quo. By avoiding straightforward requests for information, negotiators sidestep the potential for a tit-for-tat dynamic where each side feels compelled to reciprocate disclosures. Straightforward inquiries for information, typically eliciting a binary response or minimal details, inadvertently set the stage for a reciprocal exchange of information. Such questions like, "Does this apartment have a washer-dryer?" or "When were the windows last cleaned?" often yield only basic facts that could be obtained independently. Voss cautions that this approach risks creating an obligation to reciprocate, especially if the counterpart is adept at leveraging valuable information in return. In contrast, open-ended questions such as, "How can we make this work?" or "What do you suggest?" maintain a conversational tone and bypass the expectation of reciprocity. By framing inquiries in this manner, negotiators can glean insights without explicitly soliciting information, preserving their autonomy in the negotiation process. However, some negotiation theorists advocate for a tit-for-tat strategy, citing its efficacy in scenarios like the prisoner's dilemma. Robert Axelrod's research revealed that mutual cooperation followed by proportional retaliation produced optimal outcomes. This approach suggests starting with cooperation, but responding in kind to any defections from the agreed-upon strategy. While navigating emotional dynamics in negotiation, Voss underscores the importance of regulating one's own emotions. Avoiding anger and maintaining composure is crucial, as emotional outbursts can escalate tensions and undermine negotiation objectives. By exercising restraint and refraining from reactive responses, negotiators retain control of the negotiation dynamics, preventing adversaries from exploiting emotional vulnerabilities. In essence, by employing open-ended questions to gather information while avoiding reciprocal obligations, negotiators can navigate negotiations with autonomy and strategic clarity. Balancing emotional regulation with tactical acumen allows negotiators to steer discussions towards favorable outcomes while maintaining control of the process. Chapter 8. Ensure implementation. Thus far, Voss has elucidated how strategic empathy, reflective listening, labeling, anticipating accusations, and posing open-ended questions can induce a sense of security and control in your counterpart. This approach not only encourages them to disclose their genuine desires but also grants you the leverage to align their interests with yours by leveraging their cognitive biases. Yet, even with your counterpart's agreement, a fundamental question remains. Can you rely on them to follow through? Voss emphasizes that a mere yes holds little value without a plan of action. Yes without how is essentially meaningless. In this chapter, Voss delves into the transition from agreement to execution, exploring how open-ended questions facilitate implementation by engaging your counterpart's empathy and positioning them as problem-solving partners, identifying speech patterns and nonverbal cues that may signal an unreliable counterpart. Engagement through open-ended questions. Voss revisits the concept of open-ended questions, highlighting their role in keeping counterparts involved while subtly shifting the balance of power. By posing queries like, how can we ensure our agreement is fulfilled? Or what steps can we take to make this work? Negotiators transform counterparts into collaborative problem solvers. This approach fosters a deeper commitment to the negotiated outcome, as counterparts perceive themselves as active contributors to the solution. Objective standards and execution. Contrasting Voss's emotional approach, Fisher and Urey advocate for an objective, principle-based strategy in getting to yes. They argue that agreements rooted in objective standards, such as market benchmarks or industry norms, are more robust and less susceptible to contentious negotiations. By aligning agreements with impartial criteria, negotiators enhance their enforceability and foster mutual commitment to implementation. Case study, resolving implementation issues. Illustrating these principles, consider Karen, a university fundraiser grappling with a delinquent donor. Through strategic communication, Karen can outline the implications of the donor's default and prompt them to propose a solution. By summarizing the situation and posing open-ended questions like, how can we address this? Karen reframes the negotiation, compelling the donor to acknowledge their responsibility and propose remedial action. This hypothetical scenario mirrors real-world challenges and exemplifies Voss's approach to navigating complex negotiation dynamics. By leveraging open-ended questions and objective standards, negotiators can ensure not only agreement but also effective implementation, fostering trust and collaboration between parties. Assessing commitment. Voss underscores the complexity of negotiations involving multiple stakeholders beyond the immediate participants. Securing agreement from your direct counterpart holds little weight if external factors can hinder implementation. For instance, a car dealer may agree to terms, but lacks the authority to finalize the deal without approval from higher-ups. Thus, understanding the motivations of individuals influencing your counterpart's decisions becomes imperative. Identifying potential dealmakers and deal-breakers outside the negotiation room is crucial for ensuring successful implementation. Open-ended questions emerge as a valuable tool for anticipating implementation challenges. By probing into how decisions will impact other stakeholders or team dynamics, negotiators gain insights into potential obstacles and avenues for resolution. Fear of conflict and decision-making. Lencioni's work on team dysfunction sheds light on the significance of commitment in negotiations. Failure to commit often stems from a fear of conflict within teams, resulting in indecision and ambiguity. Negotiators must navigate situations where counterparts lack the authority or support to uphold agreements due to internal team dynamics. Language analysis. Voss emphasizes the importance of language cues in gauging counterpart reliability. Pronoun usage, particularly the avoidance of first-person pronouns, may indicate a reluctance to commit decisively. However, studies suggest that context and individual communication styles influence pronoun usage, challenging a rigid interpretation of linguistic cues. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal cues, such as tone and body language, provide additional insights into counterpart sincerity. Inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal communication may signal underlying reservations or deception. Negotiators can leverage labeling techniques to address discrepancies and foster trust. Gender dynamics. Consideration of gender differences in nonverbal communication underscores the nuanced nature of negotiations. Women may possess heightened sensitivity to emotional cues, while men may excel at masking vulnerability. Negotiators should adapt their communication strategies accordingly to enhance rapport and understanding. Detecting deception. Identifying signs of dishonesty requires careful observation of verbal and behavioral patterns. Liars may employ verbose, evasive language and prefer third-person pronouns to distance themselves from falsehoods. However, distinguishing strategic deflection from deceit demands continued engagement and discernment in negotiation interactions. Chapter 9: How to Bargain. Assessing your counterpart. Effectively applying Voss's techniques hinges on accurately assessing your counterpart's negotiation style. In this chapter, Voss outlines a comprehensive approach to evaluate the person across the table by 1. Identifying the three main types of negotiators. 2. Planning your negotiation strategy based on your counterpart's style. 3. Exploring the Ackermann model for monetary negotiations. The three types of negotiator. Voss categorizes negotiators into three main types. 1. Givers. These negotiators prioritize relationship building and tend to be agreeable but poor time managers. 2. Calculators. Methodical and analytical, calculators focus on facts and results, often appearing distant and cold. 3. Aggressives. Achievement-oriented and deadline-driven, aggressives are forceful and thrive on tangible accomplishments. While each type has its strengths, Voss emphasizes the importance of adapting your approach to suit your counterpart's style, reflecting an extension of empathy in negotiation. Fear of conflict. Voss's assertion that productive conflict fosters better decisions resonates with Patrick Lencioni's observations in The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Functional teams engage in ideological conflict, whereas fear of conflict impedes decision-making and leads to mediocre outcomes. Type number 1. Givers. When negotiating with givers, focus on implementation-oriented questions, as they may overcommit due to their people-pleasing nature. However, givers should avoid sacrificing their objections and embrace conflict constructively to ensure better decisions. Type number 2. Calculators. With calculators, provide clear, data-driven arguments to support your proposals. Avoid excessive questioning, as calculators may delay responses until they gather all necessary information. Building empathy and rapport can enhance communication effectiveness. Type number 3. Aggressives. When dealing with aggressives, prioritize making them feel in control and at ease. Strategic use of labels, reflecting back, and open-ended questions can bolster credibility without undermining their sense of dominance. However, aggressives should temper their forcefulness to prevent intimidation and foster genuine agreements. Strategic use of threats. While threats can be effective negotiation tools, their success depends on strategic deployment. Assess your emotional state, consider potential tit-for-tat responses, and frame threats to advance your interests rather than solely punishing your counterpart. Strategic threats aim to secure mutually beneficial outcomes rather than escalate conflict unnecessarily. Master your moves and understand your opponents. Voss stresses the importance of preparation before entering a negotiation, regardless of the negotiating style you're facing. This entails considering your open-ended questions, reflection techniques, and labels beforehand. While you may not require a script, a well-devised plan is essential. However, Voss cautions against relying solely on preconceived strategies. Like a skilled tactician, you must also be nimble, anticipating your counterpart's moves and devising real-time tactics to counter them. Yet, it's crucial not to be overly rigid or fixated on your own plan. If the negotiation veers in unexpected directions, you must possess the mental agility to adapt on the fly. Below, Voss outlines specific dodge and counter strategies to employ when confronting a formidable negotiator. Chart your negotiation course. Harvard University's program on negotiation advocates for a pre-negotiation checklist focusing on overarching strategic considerations. 1. Clearly define your negotiation objectives, both long-term and short-term. 2. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. 3. Understand your counterpart's desires and how you can address them. 4. Prioritize your goals, distinguishing primary objectives from secondary ones. 5. Evaluate your BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement, to determine your negotiation leverage. Move number 1. Dodge tactics. Dodge tactics involve skillfully deflecting your counterpart's challenges. Consider the scenario of selling a house with an offer significantly below your target price. Utilize open-ended questions to subtly reject the offer without outright refusal. Pivot to non-monetary terms to shift the focus away from price, allowing for more constructive discussions. Move number 2. Counterattack strategies. Voss advocates for a measured counterattack approach, avoiding anger while assertively responding to unfavorable offers. Employing I and me statements can redirect focus onto your needs, eliciting empathy from your counterpart. Strategic umbrage allows for the expression of dissatisfaction without personal attacks, maintaining control over emotions. Navigating anger effectively. Harnessing anger can be a potent tool in negotiations if managed appropriately. Recognize situations where anger can drive positive outcomes, focusing on the issue rather than the individual. Employing a calm and measured tone allows for the expression of displeasure while preserving professionalism. Knowing when to step away. Voss emphasizes the importance of knowing when to walk away from a negotiation. Prioritize your interests over a potentially unfavorable deal, especially if your counterpart is untrustworthy or unable to fulfill their commitments. Maintain a collaborative mindset and avoid emotional escalation, recognizing the potential for future cooperation. By mastering your negotiation tactics and understanding your counterpart's strategies, you can navigate challenging negotiations with confidence and adaptability. Utilize the Ackerman model in negotiations. Voss advocates for the Ackerman model as a modern approach to negotiation, developed by ex-CIA operative Mike Ackerman. Unlike traditional methods, this model doesn't rely on meeting halfway, offering a more strategic approach. The Ackerman model comprises 6 steps. 1. Set a target price. Establish an ambitious yet feasible target price through thorough research. 2. Offer 65% of your target price. Start with a bold move by offering 65% of your target price. This triggers loss aversion, prompting you to view any subsequent increase as a win, while also revealing your counterpart's price limit. 3. Prompt self-negotiation. When faced with an unacceptable counteroffer, use open-ended questions to encourage your counterpart to solve your concerns. 4. Plan incremental counteroffers. Gradually increase your offers in decreasing increments, activating reciprocity and making your counterpart feel in control while staying below your target price. 5. Use a precise, non-round figure. Employ a specific, non-round figure for your final offer to convey firmness and discourage further negotiation. 6. Include a non-monetary item. Signal the conclusion of monetary negotiation by offering a non-monetary item along with your final bid, indicating your readiness to move forward. While Voss emphasizes making the first offer to shape subsequent negotiations, other experts suggest considering reservation points and using rationales to support counteroffers effectively. Additionally, offering non-monetary items throughout the negotiation process can provide valuable insights into your counterpart's priorities. By applying the principles of the Ackerman model, you can navigate negotiations with confidence and strategic precision, maximizing your outcomes while maintaining control over the process. Negotiating school tuition, an Ackerman model case study. Let's explore how Dana utilized the Ackerman model to negotiate a lower annual tuition for her daughter's private high school with the headmaster. Dana, already paying $25,000 annually for her daughter's tuition, faced a hike to $28,000. Unwilling to accept this increase, she prepared by researching tuition rates at comparable schools, setting her target price at $23,500, lower than her current payment. During the meeting with the headmaster, Dana expressed her family's love for the school and involvement in its community, but also highlighted lower tuition rates at rival institutions. She posed an open-ended question. How am I supposed to pay an extra $3,000 in annual tuition? Despite the headmaster's assertion of the school's reputation, Dana made her first offer of $15,275, anticipating its rejection. Instead of engaging in back and forth, she posed another open-ended question about recruitment expenses for filling vacancies. With the headmaster realizing potential losses from Dana's withdrawal, he countered with $26,000. Dana used a label to express her refusal subtly, highlighting the risk of leaving her daughter's spot vacant. Finally, Dana presented her precise, non-round figure of $23,237, signaling her commitment to this amount. Impressed by her precision, the headmaster agreed to this number, acknowledging Dana's reasoned approach and willingness to find common ground. Chapter 10. Unknown Unknowns. We've seen Voss stress the primacy of having information. Indeed, he says that at their most fundamental level, all negotiations are exercises in information gathering. But some pieces of information are easier to obtain than others. Voss writes that in every negotiation, there is some hidden piece of information that, if it were known, would completely transform the dynamic of the negotiation and the final outcome. He labels these black swans, and says that finding them is the last piece of the puzzle to succeed in your negotiation. Categories of information. According to Voss, information in negotiations falls into 3 categories. Known knowns. These are certainties such as your counterpart's name, their offer, and insights from past negotiations. While valuable, focusing solely on known knowns can lead to tunnel vision, blinding you to new information. Known unknowns. This category includes information we know exists but don't possess ourselves, like our counterpart's price ceiling or deal breaker. We're aware of their presence but lack specific details. What to keep confidential in negotiations. While Voss emphasizes managing information about your counterpart, other experts stress the importance of withholding certain details. The Harvard Negotiation blog highlights 4 types of information to keep secret. Sensitive or proprietary information, like trade secrets. Details not authorized for sharing, such as confidential company plans. Information that could weaken your position, like personal motivations for selling. Uncertain or changeable information. Unknown unknowns, black swans. Voss underscores the significance of unknown unknowns, information we lack and aren't even aware of. These black swans can reshape negotiations dramatically when uncovered. Identifying and exploiting them through strategic questioning gives negotiators a crucial edge. For instance, discovering external financial pressures on a home seller reveals them as a motivated seller likely to accept lower offers. This revelation, a black swan, fundamentally alters the negotiation dynamic. Unearthing the black swan. Voss outlines key strategies for uncovering your counterpart's black swan. Seek face-to-face interaction for nonverbal cues. Voss advocates for in-person meetings to capture crucial nonverbal signals that can be missed in emails or other digital communication. Nonverbal cues, like tone of voice and spontaneous gestures, offer valuable insights that aid in understanding your counterpart's true intentions. Leverage shared similarities. Research demonstrates that people are more likely to trust those they perceive as similar to themselves. Identifying common ground with your counterpart fosters rapport and encourages them to divulge information they might otherwise withhold. Harnessing the black swan. Discovering a black swan provides leverage, allowing you to influence the negotiation in your favor. Voss categorizes leverage into 3 types. Positive leverage. Offering something desired by your counterpart while securing something you want in return creates positive leverage. This reciprocal exchange, often termed win-win, benefits both parties and underpins many transactions, from interpersonal dealings to international trade agreements. Negative leverage. Negative leverage involves threatening harm or withdrawing valued benefits. Understanding what constitutes a loss for your counterpart enables you to trigger their sense of loss aversion. Skillful labeling can subtly evoke their fear of loss, such as questioning their commitment to honesty if reputation is important to them. Normative leverage. Normative leverage exploits discrepancies between your counterpart's behavior and their stated principles. By highlighting inconsistencies, you prompt them to reconsider their actions. This tactic challenges their integrity and can compel them to align their behavior with their professed values. Navigating cultural influences. Negotiation dynamics are heavily influenced by cultural norms. Diverse cultural frameworks, such as dignity, face, and honor cultures, shape individuals' approaches to negotiation and their perceptions of trust, hierarchy, and reciprocity. In conclusion, mastering these strategies empowers negotiators to uncover hidden insights, wield effective leverage, and navigate cultural nuances, ultimately enhancing their negotiation outcomes. Understanding your counterpart's perspective. Voss underscores the significance of black swans in deciphering your counterpart's worldview. Once identified, these insights enable you to communicate effectively in a language that resonates with them. By uncovering their black swan, you gain access to their hidden motivations, allowing you to anticipate their actions. This understanding prevents misinterpretations of seemingly irrational behavior, fostering empathy and enabling you to navigate negotiations more effectively. For instance, the actions of the 9/11 hijackers, although appearing irrational to many, made sense within their worldview driven by ideological and religious convictions. Recognizing this perspective helps mitigate assumptions of irrationality and fosters empathy. Information asymmetry in negotiations. Voss elucidates how information asymmetry, where one party possesses more information than the other, can skew negotiations. Recognizing this discrepancy empowers negotiators to discern underlying motivations and level the playing field. Heeding this principle prevents falling victim to confirmation bias, as demonstrated by law enforcement's failure to understand William Griffin's true intentions during a hostage situation. Overcoming biases through techniques like negative empiricism fosters adaptability and enhances negotiation outcomes. Black swan examples. Voss illustrates the importance of black swans through contrasting hostage scenarios. The tragic case of William Griffin highlights the consequences of misunderstanding a hostage-taker's motivations, underscoring the need to challenge preconceptions. Conversely, the successful negotiation with Dwight Watson showcases the efficacy of understanding a counterpart's worldview. By leveraging Watson's devout Christian beliefs, negotiators de-escalated the situation, demonstrating the power of empathy in negotiations. Counterpoint: compassion over empathy. While Voss advocates for empathy in negotiations, Paul Bloom argues for compassion's superiority. Bloom contends that empathy, rooted in emotional mirroring, is unsustainable and biased. In contrast, compassion, grounded in valuing others' emotions, fosters genuine assistance without emotional exhaustion. Applying this perspective, the FBI negotiator's success in the Watson case can be attributed to compassion rather than empathy. Their appeals resonated with Watson's humanity, emphasizing the intrinsic value of life and showcasing the efficacy of compassionate negotiation strategies.